This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi everyone, Rusty back here with your latest Meteo Mundo forecast for this early Monday morning. As we get the week started, we got to talk about what's been happening in Central America. We've had that flooding rain through portions of Central America with that disturbance of the weekend, and some of that heavier rain and flood potential continues on this Monday. There have been other areas of the Caribbean that have seen some flooding issues over the weekend as well. And then, do I expect any chance for tropical development for the week ahead? We'll look at that as well. But I hope you're having a good start to your week, friends. You want to help me out, have a little bit better start to my Monday. Click that like button here on this video as we get started. We will get into what's happening with Central America first. And again, this disturbance has brought that flooding rain through portions of Central America over the weekend, especially the northern sides of Nicaragua, Honduras, the eastern and central sides of Guatemala, and portions of Belize. But again, it's so area dependent, right? And I have some reports I'll pass along to you guys, but I'd love to hear from you as well. If you live in these areas, drop it in the comments. Let me know how your weekend was, whether you're able to avoid any flood issues or whether you've seen it firsthand. Some of the flooding that I'm seeing being reported as well. It's been very wet through portions of Central America. We want to make sure that you guys are doing okay. So drop a line, let me know how you're doing. So the heavy rain will continue in portions of this area through Monday and at least through portions of Tuesday as well. Now, it's beginning to break up a little bit, but there is still going to be the potential for some excessive rainfall, especially again, northern sides of Honduras, the coastlines of Guatemala, and into Belize as we go through our Monday. I have seen some reports of some flood issues, especially in the central and the southern sides of Belize. Okay, so again, let me know if you live in Belize, what you've been seeing. And then I saw some photos out of La Lima, which is basically a community, a town just southeast of San Pedro Sula here on the northern coastline of Honduras, and they had extensive flooding. And I have to assume that that flooding is a lot more widespread than just in La Lima. So again, if you live in this area, let me know, but they have been hammered with rain and excessive rainfall there, including up towards Roatan. And again, we talked about this heavy rain setting up on the northern shoreline of Honduras and then moving through coastal Guatemala and southern Belize as kind of the bullseye. And I got to tell you, the models were spot on. That's exactly where we've had the heaviest rain, moving through Amatique Bay, I believe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but then moving off into interior sections of Guatemala and then just setting up across the coastline of Honduras. Now, we've had heavier bursts of rain now through some of the higher terrain of western Honduras and into Nicaragua, and the heaviest rain is beginning to move off towards the west. So now some of these higher terrained areas could still have potential for mudslide issues on this Monday. Look, the soil is saturated, just absolutely saturated in a lot of spots. An additional rain that we could see Monday and Tuesday could lead to additional urban flash flooding and mudslide issues in higher terrain. And again, it's not just these areas. There will be more heavier downpours in portions of Costa Rica and Panama, El Salvador as well. But as far as where I expect there to be the highest potential for flooding issues, it's the regions that I just mentioned. Let's take a look at the model here over the next couple of days, and you're going to see that this rain is going to stick around through the majority of our Monday, breaking apart a bit on Tuesday, and then hopefully we're drying out in full on Wednesday, or if nothing else, we just don't have the rainfall totals that lead to additional flash flooding. But here it is as of 7 a.m. on this Monday. Again, I expect that heavy rain to continue along the coastline of Honduras and Guatemala and Belize. It'll break apart a little bit as we move into our Tuesday, the 7th there. And then again, kind of just fading away, especially as we get into our Wednesday morning. Still maybe some rain on Wednesday, but hopefully much lighter in nature. The rich tropical moisture should be moving west into the eastern Pacific, especially by then. But we'll look at some of the still potentially very high rainfall totals coming up in just a second. But again, it's not just those areas. We'll get some heavier downpours for places like San Salvador and Tegucigalpa and Managua, even back down towards San Jose, the opportunity for at least some scattered rain. Again, I think a little bit farther south there, it's just more downpours. But even then, we catch a downpour in the right spot, we're going to get 2, 3, 4 inches of rain like that. I mean, that's the kind of rich moisture that is still into play. Now for the Yucatan, again, pretty much stayed out of the excessive rainfall, even the southern sides of the Yucatan, but especially up towards Cancun and Cozumel. Showers, sure, on and off from time to time. That'll continue for Monday and Tuesday, but many more dry hours and locations up in the northern sides of the Yucatan. So let's get into what we could see here as far as additional rainfall totals. I'm going to take this model and back it up a little bit here. So I was looking at this model, the GFS, and it's going to continue to paint on a ridiculous amount of rain for the coastline of Honduras and Guatemala and southern Belize. I don't know if I fully buy how much more rain this is painting on. This is the rainfall from late Sunday night, so a little bit ago, and it's really not even through Friday, to be honest. If I back this up here into Wednesday morning, you're not going to see much more rain. But again, I mean, another foot of rain? I hope not. I hope we're not even close to that. The problem is if you even half that and say we're only going to get another 6 inches of rain in a couple of spots, my goodness, it's still going to be flooding potential in the highest degree in some of these areas. And even, the model has 3-4 inches of rain near Belize City. It gets a little bit higher, generally speaking, a little bit farther south in Belize. Then again, right here in the Bay, you just have this massive bullseye. I'm glad it's not a large area, but again, this could be horrible, especially if we do get anywhere near this kind of rainfall total near San Pedro Sula and La Lima, again, with already a tremendous amount of rain and the pictures to back up some tremendous flooding in those areas. Roatan, another 5 inches. I know some friends of ours in Meteo Mundo here live or have visited the Roatan area recently or are there right now. Let me know how you're doing and what's going on. And again, this east to west moisture swath here on the northern sides of Guatemala. Here's Guatemala City. Not as much rain, but 3, 4, 5 additional inches of rain there. And as I've mentioned, some of the heavier rain is now shifting off west into, guess what? More populated areas, higher terrain, like Tegucigalpa. Another 3 to 4 inches there in some of the higher areas could absolutely lead to additional mudslide issues, especially with the already saturated soil. Managua there in Nicaragua, again, kind of an average. Don't look at one spot, but again, 2-3 inches of rain there. And that is very common. I mean, even down towards San Jose, some of the mountain areas there, 3 additional inches of rain. San Jose maybe a little bit closer to 2, but you get the picture. Even down towards Panama, another 2 to 3 inches. It's going to be more rain. The heaviest or the most persistent rain should generally be done. It's going to be wet on Monday, but again, when we're talking about these kinds of rainfall totals, there could be a lot more problems in portions of Central America on Monday. Now, again, you get up towards the northern sides of the Yucatan, not a lot. Still would expect some passing showers for Cancun and Cozumel, but nothing like they're going to see here in Central America. So my thoughts are with you guys. And again, if you live in this area, drop in the comments section. Let me know. Would love to hear from you and hope you're doing well, or at least as well as certainly possible with some of that extensive rain. Now, I mentioned it wasn't just Central America that got hammered over the weekend. Let's go to our friends in Barbados. Man, you guys had a lot of rain leading to flash flooding issues on your Sunday. There was a red flash flood warning for the entire island on Sunday. It just expired, but again, you need to check in with your local officials, your local government, if they're going to extend this flash flood warning through a little bit longer on our Monday. And again, that's just very dependent on the additional rain, but we had several inches of rain in Barbados on Sunday. I expect some heavier rain at least through the early portions of Monday. Now, this moisture axis is going to move west in places like Martinique and St. Lucia and Grenada that really didn't have a lot of rain on Sunday. Now it's your turn to have some heavier downpours. I'm not, we'll keep an eye on the flood potential. We may not see the persistent rain like Barbados had on Sunday for the rest of the Windward and the Leeward Islands on Monday. But yeah, that rain is going to be shifting off towards the west. So let me show you that. I'm going to switch over to this product here, and we'll take a look at the rainfall in the Lesser Antilles, and then we'll move over to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as well, because again, those are other areas that could also have some heavy rain as we move through the next couple of days, especially for, again, the Leeward Islands and the Windward Islands on our Monday. So zooming in a little bit in this area, you can just see here that the heavy rain begins to slide west out of Barbados. Let me switch over to GFS model here real quick and slide that out. Okay, so on the GFS model here, what you're going to see is that rain, again, down in Barbados. This is going to be, let me back it up to today. So down in Barbados, swinging off towards the west. Scattered rain that kind of picks up. You can see that. It's going to pick up. So More heavier rain for portions of Trinidad and Tobago, scattered but downpours. You get my picture? Not a full day rain, but heavier downpours, which could lead to some quick flash flooding. Shouldn't be in many areas, but again, urban and small stream flooding, absolutely possible with some of these downpours. Martinique, Dominica, on over towards Guadeloupe, St. Kitts and Nevis. You get as far north as Anguilla, not as much rain. But the interesting thing is that the forecast in Puerto Rico, I think, is going to be a little bit wetter than what the model is showing right now. I do expect there to be some decent downpours in places like San Juan and Ponce and portions of the Virgin Islands for our Monday. We could get maybe even 1 to 2 inches of rain in a couple of spots. You're not going to see as much on the model here, but some of the other things I've been looking at, look, it's very water loaded. Again, we're going to get some showers developing out of this. And then guess what happens? All of this moves off towards the west. So now we start to see this again, kind of get a little bit broader in nature and move into places like Santo Domingo and towards Haiti, Port-au-Prince. The ABC Islands will get a little bit more into play with some rain a little bit later in the week. But for our Monday, it is going to be the Leeward Islands and the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, all of those combined, that are going to have the best chance for some of those heavier downpours. So just want to get back out there and show you that one more time. All right, we'll put this into motion. And again, you'll get the idea that when I zoom out here a little bit, that all of this moisture that's kind of building with those downpours works its way back off towards the west. And things might get a little bit more interesting late into the week, and I'll highlight that coming up in just a second. So rainfall total wise, let's take a look at that. When I throw this into motion, you are going to see some heavier rainfall in portions of the islands. And again, for Barbados, what are we looking at? And I don't want to go too far out in time here, so let's just take it through, let's say tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll query some of these numbers here. So the model for, again, I got to extend this back out to, all right, right around lunchtime, or is that tomorrow night? That's tomorrow night. That's a little too far. Let's go back a little bit here. Tomorrow afternoon sounds good to me. A couple more inches of rain, a lot of that falling today. So again, could there be additional flooding issues? It's a possibility with as much rain as Barbados saw on Sunday. Now again, we didn't get as much rain on Sunday in the other islands, so it would take a lot more rain for you to see any flooding issues in places like St. Lucia, on over towards Guadeloupe and St. Martin and Anguilla and Antigua and Barbados. But 1 to 2 inches of rain as a general idea is expected between now and tomorrow afternoon. Trinidad, an inch of rain. I know some of you guys are really desperate for that rain. You want that cooling showers. Hopefully you'll get some of that. Aruba, the ABC Islands, Bonaire, Curacao, not a lot of rain. Again, your better chances come midweek. And then again, for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, I think we could see some downpours with more than an inch of rain in a couple of spots. Maybe on average, we don't get as much there. So we'll keep an eye on that. To the Bahamas we go. The breeze was the big story in the Bahamas, okay? As far as the rain goes for the Bahamas over the next couple of days, I don't expect a lot. I'll throw the GFS model into motion for us here. We'll pick up a couple of scattered showers across Grand Bahama and New Providence and Eleuthera and Abaco and the central and the southeast sides of the Bahamas. But relatively speaking, you guys have a pretty nice week ahead. As we get down towards the Turks and Caicos, you're going to get a little bit more of that moisture late in the week. So I'd expect a few more showers down there. Maybe in the southeast side of the Bahamas could catch a few more showers. So you notice I have not mentioned the western sides of the Caribbean yet, like Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. So this is the GFS model through Friday, the 10th. And you can see this elongated moisture coming in. Now, if you saw the thumbnail that said you have to take a look at this weather model, it is the GFS model for the extended time. Now, I'm going to take this out all the way as far as I can, and this is what I'm talking about when I throw this in. Now, few things to note, okay? I'm just showing you this because this is kind of all the noise that I have to look through when I'm looking at all of these models. But what you're clearly seeing, I say clearly seeing as I move it off the map, is the GFS model trying to wrap up a tropical system early next week in the western side of the Caribbean, okay? Now look, again, am I fully buying this? Absolutely not. Is this something to keep an eye on though, to see if the GFS continues this trend and other models pick up on it? Absolutely. Look, the GFS is notorious late in the period to really strengthen storms that become nothing, okay? But the reason why I show you this is just a reminder that you only have to go back to last year to have a second week of November hurricane with Nicole that developed east of the Bahamas and then moved into the eastern coastline of Florida. All right. So again, you're looking at which would basically be a week out. And again, I want to mention this. And the reason why I wanted to start here is for my friends in Kingston and Montego Bay and the rest of Jamaica, your rain chances really go up here as we get into the weekend. Again, as we get into the 11th, which is Saturday, the 12th, which is Sunday, look at that. And then again, you see this wrap up here. Now, again, I wanted to show you this simply because first of all, the Hurricane Center doesn't even highlight an area over the next 7 days, but it's not out of the question to have some kind of system in the Northwest Caribbean at this time. Maybe not as strong as the Hurricane Center, or excuse me, as the model is showing, but the sea surface temperatures are still outrageous for November. All right, they're still running more like late summer, well into the mid 80s throughout the Western Caribbean. So, conditions at the lower levels without any wind shear absolutely could still promote the possibility of a disturbance. Now, again, if you live in Central America, you live in the western sides of the Caribbean, I'm not saying that this is going to be heading your way. I'm saying let's keep an eye on what the models paint for the week ahead. If anyone is telling you that this is definitely going to happen, no, it's not definitely going to happen. But is there something to keep an eye on here as we get into early next week? Absolutely, especially with this GFS model painting this on. Now, when I show you the wind field with this, so you're seeing what's happening with the rainfall. When I show you the wind field out of this, you're going to see this broad kind of disturbance area here when the model picks back up, just kind of work its way off towards the west. There's not much. And then by mid to late week, we start to pick up more breezy conditions. And then it really, in a very short order here, wraps that thing up just off of the Central American coastline on the 15th, okay? And again, strengthens it significantly just off of the shoreline of Honduras and Nicaragua. Simply for informational purposes, friends. Again, not scaring you. I promise you not doing that. But I didn't think it would be a disservice to not show you that one of the major models is saying, hey, there's a potential for something that we need to keep a very close eye on early next week in the western sides of the Caribbean. Now, certainly, we're going to see more moisture coming in. So the rain chances for places like Jamaica really going up into the Cayman Islands. And I got you covered. I'll keep you updated here as we roll through the remainder of the week. But again, it'll be interesting to see what the GFS model does with that and if other models pick up on anything for the week ahead. Let's wrap up the video with a few 5-day forecasts. For my friends in San Juan, it's going to be a pretty wet forecast. I do expect the next couple of days to be the wettest, but more localized showers, I think, will be developing across the island in the afternoon. So you'll start off very warm and humid. You'll pick up the afternoon showers. More heavier downpours are likely today and tomorrow, then more scattered in nature with daytime highs. That'll be near 90 degrees on Monday, and it is going to be steamy, especially if you don't get any rain. It is going to be really steamy. And then for our friends in Kingston, in Jamaica. So again, it's relatively dry early through the week. And then as that moisture gathers in the Caribbean and moves from east to west, I'm really upping the rain chance, especially Thursday and into Friday, where we could see some heavier downpours return to the island. Again, it's not completely dry, but I want to say this too. It's going to be very hot in those afternoon hours, Monday and Tuesday. Heat indices feels like temperatures 100 to 105. And then again, rain chances really ramping up on Thursday and Friday. Remember, friends, we also are live streaming here on Meteo Mundo. If you go to the live tab, right now, you will see that live stream. And that live stream runs almost 24/7. You'll see live current temperatures, live real-time satellite data and radar data, and then tropical tracks and updated tropical tracks if there are active systems. Again, we run this nearly 24/7. So in between these forecasts, pop into our live stream, say hi. And again, if you got a question for me, drop it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer it for you. Do us a big favor, like the video. And if you haven't subscribed yet to Meteo Mundo, do that. And again, this is exactly what you would see as we kind of take you across the Caribbean and the Bahamas on our live stream. Just the live conditions across the area anytime you want it. Come in and check in. We appreciate you doing that. And again, hitting the like button and the subscribe helps us out tremendously. So thank you so much. Have a great Monday. I'll keep you updated right here. See you back real soon, friends, here at Meteo Mundo.